Hello and welcome to our garden tour. Today is May 21, 2025, and had quite a few things accomplished even just today, but it's still too early for a lot of things in the garden. Our overnight temperatures are still too low for a lot of things, but here we are in the food forest, so this is where I'm going to start. Oops. All right, let's try that again. So here we have the crab apples that are starting to bloom, and our silver buffalo berry is looking really good this year, although we did lose one more over the winter. But we planted 30 of them, and having 27 left in total, that's pretty good. I'm gonna head over to the end here, where we've got the high bush cranberry, which have survived the winter. One over here, and one over here, and our two sea buckthorn have also survived. This one, and there's the other. And I have no idea if we have a male and a female, but we'll find that out eventually. Oh, car coming. Noise. All right, the truck is gone. Always makes me wonder when they just kind of stop on the road and don't move for a while. All right, so here we have, kind of hard to see, the mulberry. There's one getting its leaves, and this one is not doing as well, but it is also getting its leaves. And then we go over to this section over here, got some new stuff. Earlier we had planted, let's get around this mess over here. We've got a gooseberry and a Cortland Nova red apple. I got these from a local nursery, so we know these will grow in our area. And our rain barrel is leaking, so I moved it over here. This was full a little while ago. It's empty. So I figured if it's going to leak, it may as well water a tree. I also planted just this morning. These are haskaps. They are two cross-pollinating varieties, and hopefully they will do better here than our other haskaps. And here comes the truck again. Hang on. Well, it wasn't a truck this time, it was a car. Considering how in the boonies we are, we have an amazing amount of traffic. All right, and then this last one was planted this morning. This is an opal plum, which is a variety that is hardy to zone 2 and is a large eating variety. And the flowers are for our little elderly Freya who went over the Rainbow Bridge just a few days ago. And so she has been laid to rest underneath the plum tree. So things have been crazy in all kinds of directions for the last while. So we've had no new progress on the trellis part of this trellis bed. And so it hasn't been worked on yet. It's still too early to transplant anything, so that's not too much of a hurry. But we do see some of the onions that were set out here last year are coming up, and these are for seeds. Then over here is one of our winter sown beds. Had the plastic on these hoops over here. I've just set it aside for now. What I hope to do is put some sort of netting over it to keep the deer out. Okay, so what do we got here? This looks like a radish. We've got, this looks like just grass, but we do have some onions. You can recognize the carrots. That over there is a beet. And I think this is could be a different radish or it could be a turnip. I'm not sure. We'll find out. This is probably a weed. And some more radishes. But yeah, it's I'm going to be planting more carrots. It doesn't look like we got very many of them. But yeah, this is how the winter sown bed here has turned out so far. This is the root vegetables. And over here, I've given up on this one. This is where we planted flowers. And unfortunately, I didn't cover it until it was basically too late. Too many cats digging in it. Too many cats rolling around in it. So I'm actually going to... Yeah, and the wind tore the plastic. I'm going to redo this bed with different flowers. Well, actually, not all different, but mostly different flowers. So that's going to be a project for here. Still haven't done this bed. Got to put this frame together and then clean up in here. I'll do some direct sowing in there. We've already got this bed done. And we've got sugar snap peas and super sugar snap peas planted on each side of this trellis here. The mulch and the boards are here is to keep the cats from using it as a litter box. So what I'm going to be doing, since the boards are here anyways, is I will be... Good grief. Oh, it's the truck again. I will be planting carrots under where the boards are. And at some point I'm going to figure out how to put some sort of protection around it. Otherwise the deer will eat all the peas. Alright, this bed is still solarizing. And this one actually seems to have worked. The other one that the peas are in right now, it acted more like a greenhouse. This bed here is where we winter sowed the summer squash, and absolutely nothing came up. And something very loud is coming, so I'm going to pause this again. It was farm equipment this time. Okay, so when I was preparing this bed, none of the summer squash had germinated. So I redid this bed. I did find some summer squash seeds in there. And so who knows, they might actually germinate. But what I did plant in here are potatoes. So 2 bags of potatoes, Yukon potatoes, are now planted in here and covered with netting to protect them from the cats. Here we have our garlic, which is doing very well. I'm quite happy with them. We had to take the netting off because they were getting too tall. And there's still netting on this side. We had winter sown the same mix that was in the high raised bed, but nothing worked. The cats still managed to lie on top of this and just roll all over, so nothing survived. I think what I'll end up doing is planting some summer squash here. I got some green zucchini and I got the white patty pan, so one or both will end up in here, I think. Okay, we are now in the east garden area, and this is the bed that we planted. What did we plant here last year? The Crespo squash. And I'm thinking of putting some squash in here again this year, but I haven't completely decided. And then we still need to work on this bed. It's still too early to do anything, to transplant anything or even direct seed. All these sticks were used to try and keep plastic on top of that cover and failed completely. So they're just over here for now. The cats have been so determined to get into this bed. I've had to resort to short-term measures to keep them out. But in here, this is also supposed to be a root vegetable mix, but it also has lettuces. One variety of lettuce in here, and it looks like we might have some turnips coming up, and there's a few carrots coming up, but mostly it looks like it's lettuce. I do see, oh look, there's a beet. You can see the red veins. That's a beet in there. So we'll see how this turns out. And all the greenery just kind of ended up It's almost as if it got washed away into the center of the bed. But it could be that the stuff closer to the sides of the bed didn't survive the winter. So we'll see how this one turns out. Over here are the sunchokes. They have not emerged yet. And remarkably, much to my surprise, we actually have some of the purple asparagus survive. There's one plant over here and another one over here that has survived. I honestly didn't expect any of them to emerge, but we'll see. This bed has not been very successful, partly because we ended up with a lot of spring flooding that it turns out affects this area badly, and also because the deer keep eating the strawberries, some of which have survived. I'll find a way to move those. Oh, what can I say about this bed? This was winter sown with the tall and climbing things, and a few onions in there that are kind of trying to survive. As you can see, the weeds are getting in here. We had some things struggling to survive and sprout. None of the sunflowers seem to have shown up. I think maybe some peas, I don't know, some beans maybe showed up. I don't even know what that is. I didn't plant that. The cats are just absolutely determined to get into here. So they've bent these wires completely up. For some reason, this spot in particular, they slide the mesh right over. This mesh is here to protect from the seeds. We're still going to have a massive drop of seeds in the near future. But everything that we planted in here has been basically destroyed by cats. So what I'm going to do is replant this bed completely and find some way to secure this netting better, because it is vital to protect the bed from being smothered by seeds. As you can see, some are still getting in, but because the cats keep lifting it up. And as you can see, the cats are digging in here. The weeds are growing. And then that, I think that's a flower of some kind. But yeah, yeah, this one's really disappointing. So here you can see one very lush and healthy haskap bush. This is the Mr. Honeyberry, which is the pollinator. And as you can see, it's blooming now. Where are we? There we are. We're blooming. But the ones it's supposed to pollinate, oh, this one does have some flower buds in there. And then there's a little one over there. But they're well behind, so they don't really cross-pollinate well. This one, however, it turns out is self-pollinating, so we'll at least get some berries off of this one. Hello, Stinky. Nothing happening in these blocks yet. I still have not decided what to put in here. And this is a currant bush my mum got for me. And it's doing really well here. Much better than the currants that were planted on purpose in other areas. So over here we have the 2 grapevines. And the spirea is getting in there, which is not good. But the grapes have survived. And unfortunately, we need to cut away this because we can't be having it growing into the storage house blinds there. But yeah, the grapevines have survived. And I really need to figure out where to transplant these. Hello, Fluffy. Okay, we are now into the old kitchen garden, the jungle. And some of my daughter's daffodils have actually survived and are coming up. Last year they started to come up and then just disappeared. And I found a single iris that's coming up. There's others, but I don't know where they are. The walking onions, looking good and healthy. The rhubarb, looking good and healthy. We've actually harvested them a couple times. The chives are doing great. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to plant in these blocks yet. But in here, I've got some, oh, this very deadly rose bush here has some parts of it didn't survive the winter, so we'll need to clean that up. Now today, I have changed up the covering on this bed. I had plastic over it before, which worked quite well. But it's getting too warm for that, so now I've got the mosquito netting on it because I'm hoping to keep the flea beetles and other such critters off of what is our greens mix of plants. So we got spinach in there that look like they can be harvested, dandelions, some other things I'm not sure of. I'm really hoping that's a kohlrabi because I have yet to successfully grow kohlrabi because the flea beetles just completely decimate them. I got something here. I don't know what those are. I'm hoping it's not a weed because they're all over the place. I got some mint coming up in here. Focus. There we go. That garlic planted itself. And there's an onion over here. There's an onion in there that planted itself. And then we have planted itself. It was from last year. These are the wild strawberries, which I watered earlier, and they're blooming. I'm going to produce. And onions from last year have survived. This is where we had thyme and chamomile before. So I'll probably be putting the eggplants and the peppers in this bed once the overnight temperatures are safe to do so. Still got some cleanup in there. And I've got herbs that I purchased, transplants, and they're going to go inside this little bed here. And then I haven't decided what's going to go in. More loud traffic. I haven't decided what's going to go in here yet because I still have to fix the walls and weed out all the stuff in here. But we've got mint is starting to come back in there and some onions that have survived again in here. So lots of work to do here still. Okay, so now we're getting into our portable greenhouse, which has gotten all sorts of wind damage. I'd hoped it would at least last 1 year. The frame lasted, but we've got some pretty big tears in here and in the roof as well. So it has been working though. It's actually gotten too hot. So we got our tomatoes and more tomatoes. We had a terrible wind day. This thing got knocked over almost completely, even with the tie downs. So some of these got knocked over, and that's why there's a loofah in a cup over here. That was the only way to get it to survive. And more tomatoes. These ones, I think this bin got tipped completely upside down. Got our winter squash over here. They really need to be planted out, but it's still, the overnight temperatures are not ready for them. And these are the peppers, the sweetie snack mix or whatever it's called. And these are herbs that I purchased, 2 types of thyme, 2 types of oregano, and some basil. And this is the remains of the first potatoes that I got and tried chitting. They just died and never grew. That was even when we had them inside. And of course, once they were in the greenhouse, they baked, so we just left them here. I'll compost them. And these bags are up here for weight to keep it from blowing away again. And here we have our melons, Sarah's Choice, Honeydew, and a cream of Saskatchewan watermelon, and a surviving loofah. And these, that's our transplants. So not as many as in previous years, but better suited to the space we have. And hopefully these will get out soon. According to what I've seen online, our average frost date has actually changed. It was June 2nd, and now it's saying our frost date can be, last frost date can be anywhere from May 28th to May 31. which, yeah, I don't trust that. We've already had a few cold nights, and looking at the long-range forecast, it's, yeah, I'm thinking June 2nd is still the safe time to wait before we start transplanting any of these into the garden beds. All right, and that is our garden tour for May 2025. We've got a decent amount of progress happening. I'm particularly happy with what we managed to get in the food forest, and we'll see how things go in the next little while. Hopefully we'll get the rest of the garden in within the next few weeks. And hi, hello Cole. Cole of the bad haircut. She had a really terrible mat of fur, so we had to cut it all off. And she did eventually forgive us, as you can tell. You know, that is our May garden tour. Hope you enjoyed it.